Well, hey everybody, this is Ken Krell, the founder and executive director of the Institute for Totalpreneurship, where we help entrepreneurs become totalpreneurs because totalpreneurs, they have everything. And today we have a very, very special show for you because we have my dear friend, the eminent goddess of traffic, goddess of SEO, goddess of marketing, my favorite lady with purple hair, Laura. Laura, how are you?
Good, Ken. I'm glad you were able to put this all together. I'll tell you, it's a technology marvel. I know we had whatever, but I was having Windows made me reboot. Like 5 minutes before. So it was like,
Well,
so there
honey,
you
once you
go.
once you go Mac, sweetie, you never go back. So there's a little lesson for you.
I I have a Mac here too. Actually, two Macs in the PC, but I don't know.
Yeah, and I've
I,
seen your Mac. As a matter of fact, I remember that from the cruise. So when I was in your stateroom. Um,
yes.
anyway,
Oh,
um, so right. Yeah, and your husband was there too. We had a really good time, but that's another conversation altogether. So just for you guys to have a perspective on what we're doing with you today and what we're doing for you today, we originally had scheduled this as a GoToWebinar thing, and Laura and I talked about, I guess, 12 or so hours ago, maybe 10 hours ago, and we do a pre-show thing, and Laura said, why don't we just put ourselves on the screen, we'll talk to everybody, and we'll have a conversation. And I said, that's great, except the recording would go to webinar, we do a normal recording, won't capture us. We'd have to actually do a screen share of it, or like a Camtasia of the screen, which would look kind of stupid because our images would be like this small, and with the rest of it would be like a blank screen. So we decided, okay, all right, I decided, let's do a Hangout. And I'd never used Webinar Jam before, so I thought, okay, this will be perfect. We'll sign up. The technology's great, no problem. So I took Mark, our programming guy, our WordPress guy, off of a really important project. And I said, Mark, learn Webinar Jam right now. We've had it for like 6 months. Whenever Mike and Andy first put it out, we've had it. We just never used it. So we're going, but he's spending hours going through it. Meanwhile, I've got 2 calls I've got to do, coaching calls and this and that. And I come back to it. We test it. It works great because you got to understand that I live in one of the 3 countries in the world where you can't originate a live hangout. Thailand, you just can't do it.
Really, I didn't know that. Is that something because of the political?
I don't know. It's been that way for as long as I've lived here. So whenever I've done it, Laura, we've had to do a VPN, which slows things down, eats up our bandwidth, and the picture quality sucks. So I haven't done Hangouts in a long time because it was just such a hassle. That's why I haven't embraced Hangouts. So anyway, we tested it in Webinar Jam because Webinar Jam is, listen to this, you guys, it's server-based. So it doesn't originate from your computer, it originates off of their server. Guess what?
Wow.
We had Hangouts easily because it recognized it as a being U.S. origination. So that was great, except that for whatever reason, we couldn't get people into the Hangout. There was some either we have a bug or we don't know what the hell we're doing, but there was no time to sort this out at like 2 o'clock in the morning. And mind you, I'm already sleep deprived, so I just want to get it done. So we revamped everything, went to a straight out Hangout thing, put something on GoToWebinar this morning, so anyone who went to GoToWebinar got redirected here, redid emails, redid our reminder campaigns, everything. All of that to get, because Webinar Jam would do that automatically. So Mark stayed up most of the night to do that. I got like 2-3 hours of sleep, and literally, looked like, deadhead up until about 15 minutes ago when I jumped in the shower while Laura was rebooting. So we did all of this for you. So I want you to understand the dynamics. And as you build your business, and Laura and I are going to talk about traffic and obviously money making and success building. The cool thing is that when it comes to producing for your clients, remember who your people are and how you're serving them. So today, just as a foundation, Laura and I conspired today. There is no sales pitch. Put your credit cards away. We're not asking you for any money. We're going to be giving you tons and tons of content. And we'll hear about Laura's new course called Traffic Genesis, which is phenomenal. Because I got a peek at some of her videos, and you should see them. She slaps Andy Jenkins in the face. I love that part especially.
Yeah, I'm some people's hero because of that. I know
Yeah,
that.
I know.
And it's funny. I've gotten a lot of private messages on it. Not many people have said it publicly, but there you go.
It's like atta girl. So Anyhow, let me introduce you, and I don't even have a sheet on you, so I'm just going to go from memory, and I've been very careful as I promoted this to not disclose your 5-star clients and all this business. I've just kind of been generic about it because I didn't even ask you about it, but I've known Laura for over 3 years. We have one of those relationships where it's just an instant bond. You meet somebody and you go, this is my like soulmate. Well, that's kind of how we have been. And so we do the Marketers Cruise together. Whenever I'm back in the States, we hang out for a bit, and we do Skype calls. And the problem with Laura and I talking is that we can't really ever get on the phone to talk because we can't do a 2-minute conversation. It's like 35 minutes later, 40 minutes later, it's like, oh shit, I gotta go. I gotta do something. So it's always like, I can't talk to you right now because there's no short talk. But it's a wonderful relationship. Laura has among the most respected clients in the business for her SEO business as well as for her traffic generation and advertising business, which you'll hear about in a minute. She's the founder CEO of Yada Yada Marketing, and there is a Yada building here in Bangkok. So all we need to do is bring Laura here. It's all set. And of course, you see Laura with the colorful hair. So Laura is a musician and a singer, right? Or was it a musical thing?
Well, actually, I'm a guitar player, but I do sing also. So
See,
there
I
you
got it
go.
right. I got it right on both scores. So,
Yep.
so I changed the headline to say how this purple-haired musician gets all the traffic she wants. So there's that. And I think the headline actually pulled. So without further ado, let's talk a bit about traffic. And first of all, Laura, let me talk for a minute about what got you into the traffic business and it's how things evolved, so people can understand a little bit about who you is.
Well, the truth of the matter is that having a website is great, but if nobody goes to it, it's kind of pointless. It's like having a really good store, but it's in a very bad neighborhood on the 15th floor of a walk-up building, right? You could have the best sale and the best everything in the world, and if they can't find you, it's a problem. So back in the late 90s, okay, which makes me a dinosaur in internet years, I actually started a company that developed software for DJs, and I toured the world with it, and we had 6 million downloads. And I looked at all of that, when I left, because it became very investor related, and I'm not exactly the corporate type.
No.
No. Yeah. I'm basically unemployable, but that's besides the point.
Well, do you think that has to do? Do you think that has to do with what your heritage and where you're from?
Oh, maybe. Who knows? Who
I mean,
knows? But
I mean,
that's that's.
we are from the same part of the world, which is one reason why we get along so well.
I'm sure. I'm sure. But anyway, when I really did an examination of what was working for PCDJ, the dual MP3 app that I put together, um, it was not selling software. It was actually selling space in our email list, and that's where we derived our largest source of income was by, finding cool products that people who like DJ software, would like to buy. And so I, leveraged some friends that I knew and brokered a trade and ended up with a large email database. And that was great for a while until blocking and filtering and commercial email became a quote unquote bad word. And from there, we went ahead and learned how to drive traffic through Google AdWords. In fact, Steve, my husband, who's also my business partner, he was one of the first 100 guys to get through the Google training. And I'll show you. Google sends me stupid things. Here's one of the latest stupid things. They also sent me something that looks a little bit like a maraca. I left it in the other room.
What is that?
I don't
Is that
know.
a water bottle? Is that like?
Well, I think it's like I think it's like some sort of. I guess I could put peanuts in it, or I don't know.
It's a
They
nice
send me
answer.
the
That's
they send
great.
me the weird. They send me the weirdest shit. Is really the honest truth.
Well, I
You
think
know.
if you didn't have purple hair, you'd probably get something like, a paper clip holder or something.
It's very funny. The last thing they sent us in a big box, and you shook, and it made noise, and it's actually something I guess geared towards the World Cup, which is happening now.
Yeah.
But I opened this up and it was shaking. I thought something broke. It's like I don't know. It's like a little soccer and some maraca type things, and the cats enjoy it. I think it's pretty I think it's pretty worthless. So I've given Google $3 million, and they gave me a cat toy. So.
You spent $3 million with them so far?
Oh, it's probably more than that,
Wow.
probably
That
more
would,
than that.
that would make it count for something.
Yeah, yeah. Well, you do that, maybe you'll get a cat toy. Who knows?
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
It beats the crap out of having a litter box, which I've had for years. So the thing that most people ask, let me ask you, what's the number one question people are asking you? I mean, I won't have you, I won't reveal all the questions I've been asking you, but what's the number one when you talk to people and when you're
Well,
putting together the Traffic Genesis course? What's the number one thing?
well, a lot of people ask, can I make money with, my insert product here? And, and my answer usually is maybe, probably. But for me, what most people don't realize is they think that they have this like personal idea or something that's very close to their heart, and they don't do something that I consider the most important part of any marketing and any traffic getting, which is to actually do a little bit of research, because there's actually a blueprint that you can find out very easily on your own what's going to work and what's not going to work. For example, if you're in a niche that has competitors, you can spy on them really and find out, what keywords they're buying, what do their ads look like, what do their landing pages look like, all sorts of stuff like that. And you'll find common elements in your niche and you'll be able to then build the right thing. What happens sometimes is I find that especially entrepreneurs, they become so close to their project that they sometimes don't really have the ability to it's like one of their children, and somebody says, oh, their children, their child is bad. It's not that their child is bad, it's just that their child is just wearing the wrong shirt, or whatnot. So I have to always say, it doesn't matter what I think, and it doesn't matter what you think. It matters what your potential customers think, and that's pretty enlightening for a lot of them. So there's a lot of stuff that happens and you can get a ton of traffic, but if you don't have things set up correctly so that traffic turns into sales and leads, then all the traffic in the world's not going to help you. But nonetheless, I love traffic because traffic is the thing that ends up at the end of the day, if you've got the right um, web property, the right offer, the right call to action, and whatnot, it's a rocket ride because you test with a $10 or $20 or $50, and it works. Then you scale that puppy up, man, and it's amazing. So that's what I like about it. And I've always and it's funny. Some people say, well, why Facebook? Well, right now Facebook is where you can get the cheapest traffic, and it's got some technology that's helping us actually get the right type of traffic because they've teamed up with all sorts of big data and a whole bunch of other companies. Not to mention the fact that they themselves, when you're on Facebook, they're tracking you, right? So they know who's buying. So
Mm.
I mean, Facebook has the largest list of hot prospects in the world, and if you tell Facebook that you want to only pay this much per like new customer, they'll try to figure it out so that you'll still continue to spend money. The fact that they're a public company now has put them in a position where they actually need to service us as advertisers because they're where if you remember Mark Zuckerberg was very much about the community, the community, the community. Well, he took the company public, and now it's all about profit motive, shareholders and whatnot like that. And that's what it is. That's the purpose of a business like Facebook, is to make money for its shareholders. And they'll be very happy to take as much money as you want to give them. But they're doing all these things to help to make it easier. So, on Facebook, it'll continue to work for a while. Google still works. It's just gotten more expensive. There's other things out there. I mean, maybe in a year or two there'll be something that we never heard of that'll be out there that'll be amazing. It's hard to say, but a lot of people say, "Oh, well, Google owns everything and Facebook's the biggest social network out there." And guess what? Do you remember AOL?
Yeah, yeah,
They were huge. They were huge.
right.
In fact, just recently I found my, you know, 1176 free hours on
Oh,
AOL.
and your old LCD.
Yeah, yeah, the little CD. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And So remember that. Okay, or better yet, remember MySpace.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean that's so 2002.
Yeah.
But but nonetheless, in actual fact, people are very fickle and they are not really loyal to a search engine or a social network. So, you know, just as anything will happen, it's still going to grow, it's still going to change. The game's not over. Google can make a huge mistake and very possible and they're out of the game. Same thing with Facebook, but right now the technology is awesome. In fact, everybody you want to market to, almost everybody, is, I mean, they're hanging out on Facebook. And there you go. I mean, what a great job that is. I get to hang out on Facebook and talk to my friends and send some ads. No, it's a little more complex than that, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, I do, and the thing about it is, I resisted Facebook for the longest time. I mean, I may show up on Facebook online because whatever, it keeps me logged in, but I've resisted it for the longest time, and now you and I have had private conversations where you've kind of kicked me in the butt about that. So we're changing our tune, and we're working privately on that. So I want you guys to know that I put my money where my mouth is. Laura is my traffic guru, and the thing that I'm finding fascinating, and I think you guys may have had your brain spiked a little bit, was when Laura said that we could actually, I don't want to use the word steal. Let's just say discover what your competition's doing, to know what works and what doesn't work. Do you want to talk about that a little bit? As I really want people to get this perspective of where that's at. What excites me, number one, is knowing that we can short circuit the learning curve, in terms of test markets,
Oh,
because we know if
sure.
someone's spending a ton of money in one market, then clearly it's working. If they're running the same ad over and over and over again, either they're incredibly stupid, own a lot of Google stock, Facebook or Google stock, or it's working.
Right.
And I think it's
Well,
that.
yeah, I mean, you can actually see, for example, how long somebody's been advertising either a contextual ad campaign or a banner campaign, and it's interesting. I mean, you'll see some that are out there for 300 plus days, and you can even see what their ad spend is. They're paying, let's say, 38 to $52,000 a month or whatever that is,
Wow.
and the and the and if an ad's been showing for 300 plus days and they're spending that kind of money, unless they're total and complete idiots, you can pretty much figure it's successful. You
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't know about you, but I don't have that kind of money to hemorrhage, and I don't know anybody else who does.
No, I mean,
And
my feeling is start with $20 a day and play, right, and learn. But this is.
oh, you don't even have to start that. That's the thing. You could start with $50 and or even less, or $10, because the price per click is so much less, and the marketplace for Facebook is so much less, and they're still trying to woo us marketers over there, that with it used to be able to do that with Google, but now you've got to put in a lot more.
Yeah.
So it's kind of interesting. I mean, you can put in some metrics, you can see what people do, you can send $50 worth of traffic or $10 worth of traffic and see what happens.
The
And
thing that
so, yeah.
Okay. And so the thing I like so much about this, because you and I have talked about how do we build our businesses and build them quickly. The thing that I like about this is that we don't. You and I haven't talked about SEO in a while, by the way. You don't have to worry about. You want traffic? Buy traffic. It's there today. It's you don't have to wait and wonder and worry what's going to happen. Right now by what you're doing, and that's what I find so attractive about this. Now, I know there's
You
some people
know,
that are.
you know what? I mean, there's just, and I just want to say something, because we had talked about, and you mentioned, I don't talk about SEO much right now, and that's absolutely true. And the reason why I don't talk about it so much is because it's a really, really difficult game right now. And the truth of the matter is, you're paying for your traffic if it's SEO or if you're paying for it today, because you're paying with your time, you're paying with it your effort, you're paying with it with your link building, and then after all is said and done, Google can go ahead and come up with another furry animal. Maybe the next one's going to look like, a goat
That's
or
right.
a donkey
Right.
Okay, that's probably my favorite. and yeah, Google ass,
That's right.
uh,
Exactly right.
yeah,
Exactly
yeah,
right.
yeah. But I'm just saying, and so it really makes an advertiser vulnerable. It puts small businesses out. They put them out of business, and it's a really really nasty game right now. So I just rather pay for my traffic, make sure that my website converts really well, and not even worry about it because it'll shake out. But right now, it's very funny. SEO is really hard right now. There was a
Hmm.
time when SEO was really, really easy. The time prior to that, it was really, really hard. It goes in cycles. So, but here's my number one, and I mean, if you take anything away from this talk today, this is the number one takeaway you should have, which is don't put all your you're making me laugh, Ken.
I know, I know.
Don't put all your eggs in one marketing basket.
There you go. Well, you can use another word, an adjective for the eggs. It just
Oh,
looked like you were going to add something to that. But and you're right. Absolutely, you're absolutely right. So now I know you talked a little bit about that testing in one of the videos that you did with Mike. I think it was the second video of the series. So
yes.
so rather than wasting your time and having you give us links and all that, what I'll give you guys the link to go and actually access the videos that Laura did because they're training videos and they're pretty good. I mean, actually, they're very good. And
There,
I'll,
yeah, there's three
yeah,
videos. The first one really tells you what to do after you get a click. The second one gets into how do you spy on your market and see what's going on.
I love that
Really,
part.
yeah, it's great competitor research. And then the third one gets into how to use the targeting and retargeting, which is digital stalking on
Yeah,
steroids.
that's great.
Yeah, and so there's no there it's total it's a couple of hours of free content. Of course we'll ask you for your email address, but it's not there's nothing if you want there's extra downloads and extra things to watch if you like. If not, just watch the videos because they're really truly some of the comments are things like I paid for courses that didn't give as much information as these free videos do. But we're really all about giving a lot of value and keeping the conversation going. So, what's your link?
Oh, I don't have a chat to put it in. You're going to go to totalpreneur.com/traffic dash genesis, which is Laura's new product with Mike and Andy. So it's totalpreneur.com forward. I'm so used to putting a chat box, in GoToWebinar. So
Yeah.
it's totalpreneur.com/traffic dash genesis. And I'll email you guys about it as well. So you'll have that. But go and watch the videos. You'll also get to see Laura slap Andy. But rather than having her give us the detail here and then you seeing it again later, I want to go past that because some of that information is already there with she's got a lot more time to do detail in that because it's really specific. So I want you to go and take advantage of that. But let me step back for a second, Laura, and I'll give that link again to everybody in a little bit. If we're getting started, let's say we're starting from ground zero. Someone's just getting started online. They don't have a ton of money. They don't have a ton of knowledge. They just know that if they don't get some sales by, next month, they're going to be living with their parents. What would you advise them to do?
Well, I would, I look, for me, what I do is if I need a couple of extra dollars, I actually just go out to the affiliate networks and I see what's actually selling and what's got the highest commission. And I will buy some ads for that. There are certain things that have instant pay and whatnot like that. So I can, usually scrounge up a couple of $1,000s if I needed to that way. But if you're going to go ahead and you're under a lot of pressure to make it work, then you're going to have to really take a look at there's a download on video one, which basically is this huge mind map of actually what you need to do. What are the elements that you need? What do you have to have? What is your landing page? What is your offer? What do what do you do after that? Because here's the thing, you're not going to go ahead. Well, I mean, sometimes you will, but I mean, the truth of the matter is if somebody doesn't know you, they're not going to give you $1,000 if they don't know you. I mean, maybe, but probably not. You know,
Only if you're cute and it's a different kind of transaction.
yeah, probably, and I'm way past that age, so it's not happening for me. So, but here's the thing.
You're
Um,
making me laugh now.
yeah, I mean, look, I'm cute, but I mean, I'm over 50, okay? So, that, the ROI on a 50-year-old is not the same as an 18-year-old. That's
uh,
just the truth.
but you see, the wisdom that comes along with that package would be a
Yes.
hell of a deal. It's a hell of a deal.
As a consultant, I'll make that much.
Mm.
But not. But again, that goes into, if somebody's going to pay me $1,000 or more, they need to know me. They have to feel good about me. They have to feel comfortable. There has to be some sort of trust building. There has to be some sort of relationship. And the truth of the matter is, it's very easy to do online, and it's funny because online sometimes makes you not confront humans, right? Because it's like you're doing all these things to write the greatest sales copy and have a video that's going to sell something, and then you don't end up ever talking to anybody. That and I guess there are certain marketers out there that have social anxiety. I'm not going to tell you who, but that won't actually have those conversations. But most of us are willing to have a little bit more of a conversation. And that's what you've got to realize is when somebody goes to one of your web pages, you have to, first of all, you got to go like, okay, what's going on with this, with your when you figure out who the right person is, your customer avatar, they're a male over 35 who is divorced with 3 kids or whatever it is, and he owns a house and blah blah blah, and you can target all that stuff. Then you need to make sure that you're talking to him in a way that indicates to them, that makes them feel like they love you. And if they love you, then they'll give you their email address, or maybe they'll give you $12, or maybe something, right? But there's two things you can do here. One is that it used to be if somebody came to your website and they left, you lost them. Okay, it was like somebody walked into the front door, you opened up the door and looked in your store and went, yeah, I don't know, and just walked out. Now with the technology known as retargeting, you can now, all those people who didn't buy or didn't opt in, you can send them, you can now put banner ads. They can see you again on Facebook, or even big sites like CNN and Fox and Huffington Post and whatnot. So that's a great thing. But you just you have to make sure if you're not if you're not converting right off the bat, then you got to look at you've got your ad and your ad creative and who it goes to, and then you have the page that it goes to, and if that page doesn't wow them, then you need to change something. I mean, and it just depends. I always use this tracking for my videos, right? That Easy Video Suite, right? So you
Okay.
upload it to Easy Video Suite. You pay one price and then you own it forever. And it's really interesting because when you log in, the first thing it says is your video's been viewed, X amount of times. Your biggest drop off is at, and it gives you a time. And so let's say you have a 4-minute video and you're losing like 60% of the people at 2 minutes. Well, then you go, well, what's right before the 2-minute mark that made them get bored? And then you can go in and you can make some changes and edits. You can look at it and go, oh yeah, well maybe I used a word that no one understood, or blah 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 blah. So or I was just rambling. I mean, like we've never done that, right?
Never. Never.
So yeah, exactly. So I'm just saying is that the one thing that's great about all the technology that exists right now, it gives us really a lot of ability to fine tune what we're doing. We can measure who comes to our site and where are they coming from and how long are they staying, and while they're there, what are they doing, where are they clicking, where are their eyes moving and whatnot. And it's interesting because up until this internet revolution, you know, um, big companies, and you still have the consolidation happening, with eBay and Amazon and Google and whatnot. But still, this is the first time in the history where there's a level playing field, and that means that you or me or some other guy named Bob that we don't know who's in his basement with a great idea can actually launch himself without, tens of thousands of dollars or, mortgaging his house or whatnot. And I mean, of course, the infomercials on buying real estate have been around forever, and all these, quote unquote, make money with no effort or whatever.
Mhm.
But that's not what we're talking about here. What we're talking about here is taking what you're passionate about and being able to communicate it to others in a way that will keep a conversation going and that people will listen to you. And if they listen to you and they love what you have to say and you add value to their lives, and you're not just always saying, hey, 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 buy my stuff, buy my stuff, buy my stuff. You're really giving them value. Well, then when it's time for them to, for you to say, hey, I've given you all this free stuff, it's time to buy something, they go, of course I'll buy something from you, we love you, and how much is it? And there's no problem. So you start off with your purpose and what are you trying to do, and then you build you really should just diagram out, like, what is, when somebody comes, what do you want them to do and how's that page going to look? And then when they're done with that, a lot of guys make this mistake is they sell the $7 ebook, right?
Mhm.
And then they don't sell them anything else.
That's the biggest
It's like,
mistake ever. It's so dumb.
yeah, yeah. I mean, so somebody already said yes once. They said yes, I'll I'll pay you $7. Well, the likelihood of that person who's paid you $7 paying you $97 pretty darn high.
Yeah.
And the likelihood of the person who's paid you $97 paying you 497, 1497, whatever that number is, and you can pull it out of wherever, and there you go. But that's really what you're, yeah, exactly that. But that's what you're talking about, and I don't know. Maybe it's funny. It's I'm a New Yorker, so I don't kind of get like warm and fuzzy and whatnot. Steve says I'm crunchy on the outside, soft on the inside. But the truth of the matter is I'm really passionate about, how this technology has really helped a lot of people. It's just amazing, and that the fact that the platforms are out there and that there are people around like you and me and Mike and Andy and others that are willing to help, because really, truth be told, I could shut this off and do my own thing and not tell anybody anything and do just fine.
And you and I have talked about that, and you're not willing to do it. Because it was whenever, okay, secret revealed. So you're a very, very busy lady, because we've been trying to get this organized, and we've been trying to get my program started, because I'm bringing Laura on, and she's been so gracious to, as crazy and busy as she is, she's taking me on as a client, and that's really cool. I mean, I'm so grateful for that. But getting the time with her is like, are you kidding me? I got this, I got that, and then finally I said, Laura, sweetheart, like, why are you doing all this madness? You have the keys to the kingdom. Everyone's coming to you for the answer. Why are you putting yourself through this? And your answer to me is always,
because that's what I do.
yeah, because you love it.
That's what I
it's
know.
it's your passion, and
Yeah.
indicative of that today. And I want you guys to recognize what's going on here, because this is how I want you to consider running your businesses. Is this could have been a pitch fest today. I wanted to, and we talked about this, what, 8-10 hours ago, and Laura was like, let's get on camera, let's talk, and let's answer questions. People have questions. Let's do it as an interview. Let's give people the value to understand that this is not something to be afraid of, because I can tell you that there's been, even for me, who's been around for years, there's been an element of inertia that I've had to overcome to get to the point where I will start really being more effective in my marketing. I've done a lot through webinars and through joint ventures and through other means, but haven't done the marketing as effectively as I could and as I'm capable of, certainly. So I want all of you guys to recognize that that's easy to overcome if you want to take that step. So the coolness is that by engaging you here in a hangout where you can see Laura and see me and talk to us through the chat, and our technology will be better as we move forward with this. That to me is the best way to build that relationship, to build that long-term peace, because that's what it's all. When we do webinars in our Trailblazers and Pathfinders trainings with our students, we talk about all these things and we demonstrate how that works in your business. And the cool thing is that when you hear the gurus of the gurus doing what we talk about. It's kind of nice validation. Retargeting, for example, Laura, we've got our site wrap product, which is for affiliates. It's basically a retargeting product. It lets you send people to affiliate links and retarget. In fact, that traffic genesis link that we're sending people to watch the videos, that's a wrapped page. You're going to get a traffic genesis on our website, and we can retarget it. And
That's awesome.
I know, it's really cool. And the coolness, and one of the reasons why I'm so happy to work with you on this, is that the stats on retargeting. I mean, let me ask you, because we've done a lot of Googling, and whenever I do a webinar, I disclose stats that I've seen. What do you figure the lift is on on doing retargeting versus not retargeting? How much? What's the?
Oh, it's huge. It's the biggest ROI you're going to see, and it's because you already have somebody who's already interested. Now, if you send somebody to a certain page and they haven't opted in on that page, or they haven't done the call to action, you might want to send them to another page. Or better yet, let's say somebody added an item to the cart and then abandoned. You can then retarget them and say, hey, guess what? Free shipping on insert your product here. Or
that's brilliant. A cart abandonment. Yeah. I didn't even thought about doing cart abandonment and retargeting. That's genius.
It's
that's
huge.
Great.
Yeah, but I will tell you this, like I have a client, and this is one of the case studies that I talk about. I have a client that sells high-end grills. I mean, I'm talking about like $2,000 to $4,000. I mean, these are like very, very specific. There's a whole grilling community on these. They're high-end. I never heard of them before, but I've seen the website. $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, $6,000 for a grill, and what we did is we retargeted people who went to the site and that didn't buy, because you can also say people who've done this, everybody who's gone here less everybody who's checked out gets to see this message. Anyone who's gone to this page gets to see this message. So you can get really granular on what you're communicating to an individual through retargeting is. So in this particular case, they got they spent $690 something for like 1,100 clicks that converted at 15.5%. I don't know what the actual sales on that is, but wow. if you're selling, I mean, and I use that as an example because most people would have said, I'm not going to sell grills online. Are you kidding me? Or they'd blow $100 and then and abandon it. We have another client that sells spare parts for tires and plumbing and whatnot like that. I mean, just killing it. People look at and that's a hugely hard campaign because especially we do Google AdWords for them too. They've got 15,000 part numbers. Well, you got to be able to put those in as keywords. It's a pain in the
oh my gosh.
Tush. Yeah. And then, of course, and people are shopping. So they'll go to your site, they'll go to another site, they'll go to another site. So if you don't retarget them, they're going to buy at the last site that they went to.
That's right.
So and people get interrupted. How many times? I mean, look, I am a notoriously bad shopper. You know me. How many pairs of shoes do I have?
Yeah.
And Zappos, okay, is hard. I mean, and shoes.com, they will retarget me and stalk me until I buy the shoes. I mean, yeah. I have this conversation like, oh God, I can't believe this ad's showing up again, and but it really does work. And I'll tell you, I've gone over the tipping point where I've actually bought something. Because of retargeting, but I also know, and I've also been on the other end where I've retargeted others and it's helped. And the thing that's really interesting is, because it's a repetition thing. Do you remember when we grew up, Ken? And I don't know how old the people are that are on this hangout, but when we grew up, we what was it? Remember, plop plop, fizz fizz. Oh, what a relief it
is! Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Why do I remember repetition? It was repetition, and now they've gotten cute with like Geico and the Geico caveman and the gecko and all that other stuff. But again, it's even like what happened with radio. I mean, all radio used to be was repetition. The first time you heard the song, it sucked. The 19th time you thought you heard it, you're like, I kind of like that. It just kind of drills it in your psyche. But the average person gets so many messages a day and so many interruptions, especially now. I mean, people keep saying that there's so much more ADD. I'm like, it's not that there's ADD. You know what it is? They've got instant messenger, they've got text messaging, they've got cell phones, and so we are chronically being interrupted from what we're working on. And you know, retargeting like helps focus you on that thing that you were in the middle of doing and fell off of it. As far as I'm concerned, I mean, people are not completing stuff because they're just busy.
Yeah,
You know?
I think if people are not doing retargeting, they're making a gigantic mistake. And the cool thing is, it's easy to do.
Yeah,
I want to just answer a question here
sure.
that Owen asked, and that is, he's asked, Laura, do you have any advice about marketing on LinkedIn?
LinkedIn is a really great network. It's if you're looking for a job, or if you're looking for people with specific job titles, that's really the business to business network. The technology, not so great. The price per click, a little bit higher.
Yeah, it
But
is.
yeah, but you know what? If you want to find plumbers, or all the marketing executives at Fortune 500 companies, or that's where you need to be. So, again, don't put all your eggs in one marketing basket. There's a lot of things you can do with Facebook too. Like if you have a bunch of leads that are in a particular industry and you've got their email address or their phone number, you can upload them to Facebook, and Facebook will match them up to Facebook users, and so you can communicate them that way. If you have an email list, it's another touch point. These things called custom audiences, which is very similar to the retargeting, but it's another asset. So if you have a list of 5,000 people, maybe they'll match 3,000 or 4,000 of them, and you can then market to them there. If you're in B2B, I wouldn't do this, but if you're in a consumer-based market or something that's, personal development or whatnot, if you upload a list like that, you can say to Facebook, hey, can you make me another audience of people that are similar to these guys that we already know that are buyers? That's pretty powerful stuff. So, I didn't mean to not answer your LinkedIn question. Yes, LinkedIn's great. LinkedIn's a good network. I think when you're making your total traffic strategy, especially if you're B2B, you should include that. It's just a matter. You see, I try to go for the lowest hanging fruit and spend the least amount possible to start. Once it's working and I know what my cost of customer acquisition is, I know what is the lifetime value of my customer, or what's my profit. I'm not talking in theoreticals. I'm talking real math. And I know if I know the numbers work, and I know what, look, I was told I could spend up to $5 to get a new lead for a client, and I will, but I got it at $1. So I'm really happy, and I'll keep I'll just keep scaling it up all day long. Sometimes when you take it very wide, the price per acquisition will go up a little bit. So you find at a certain point you start looking at your metrics and what your numbers and what you're going to do with it. But it's a really, I mean, I got to tell you, um, I've been traffic getting has been really easy lately. Okay, it's not always easy. I'm just telling you right now, it's easy. So, and then there's stuff to learn, and there's stuff and you got to check out, and you got to upload images and write copy and whatnot like that. It's not without effort, but I got to tell you, it's way more magical than it's been in a really long time. Like, remember in 2002 and 2003 when you could spend, $10 and you'd get 3-cent clicks from Google, and we'd be like, yeah. I mean, those days have been gone for a long time. And then we found Facebook, and Facebook had, kind of cheap prices for a long time, but basically the traffic from them back then, because they had not refined their technology, basically sucked. Okay, I mean, it was like, great, it's 3 cents, but they don't do anything, because you couldn't really hone in on your target market as well as you can now. I mean, they've partnered with big data. They've got the Facebook like button on all these websites. You don't think that it's in your that they know what sites you're liking. They know that you're always logged in, where you're surfing. You don't think that they see, because you people have conversion pixels on thank you pages, that who's actually the converters. They have the largest list of hot buyers on the planet. Nobody talks about this, but they do, and they'll work with you on it because now their motive is profit. They don't want to piss off the people that are there, because they won't have any profit if they've done that, which is why they have terms and little things like you can't throw an ad on Facebook that says buy my stuff. You just can't.
No.
Because you'll get comments on that ad which will sound something like, "What the f are you doing on my news feed?" And then my first thought when I've seen stuff like that would be, well, how do you think that free network that you now run your life with is paid for, right? But that's not necessarily how people think. So there's this yin and yang of it, and what you do is you find who you're what are your competitors communicating, and out of that stuff that they're communicating, what's getting great engagement on their pages, and you kind of duplicate that.
And you can find that. That's available right now, so you'll know exactly what they're doing.
Yeah, crazy available.
So basically,
crazy available.
So basically, what you're saying is find out what they're doing, model what you're doing around it. Don't copy it, because that's plagiarism and kind of stupid, but model it and then go and execute. Is that?
Yeah. I mean, and I'll take it one step further, because you don't, and it's not even a plagiarism point, okay? It's actually a point of uniqueness. Each and every one of us has something unique. I can't tell you how many people try to be Frank Kern. Frank Kern is Frank Kern. Don't try to market to me as if you're the new Frank Kern, because there is nobody but Frank Kern. He has a unique position in the market, and I mean, look, I know the guy personally. I actually do a lot of work with him on different things, but I gotta tell you, that hippy dippy surfer guy thing never did anything for me. But he's well respected, well loved, and he's got a huge following. So don't try to be the hippy dippy surfer guy, a marketing guy or whatever. Don't try to be me. Don't try to be Ken. Be yourself, because did anyone say you've heard USP, right? Unique selling position. Well, a lot of people forget the U. What's unique? You got to answer all the questions. You have to have maybe a similar call to action, but there's got to be something that's special and unique that you have, that you can communicate to people so that they can care. Because you've got to understand, when there's two pieces of it, okay? So I'm the advertiser, so I know what I'm communicating, but I'm also somebody who gets advertised too. And I'll tell you, the first question I'm going to ask when I look at any ad or click through to anything is, what's in it for me? Got to answer that. And it's really funny. I did this video the other day, and I haven't uploaded it anywhere, but it's basically what not to do in a Facebook ad. So this ad is for something called Mind whatever, and it's a software that's going to change my life. And it says, click here to see video. And I'm thinking, is it project management software? What is it? But it's going to change my life. I click on it. It takes me to a squeeze page, no video. Say, click here to watch video, not click here to give you my name, address, phone number. And they force phone number, email address, first and last name. And basically, they're screwing the pooch as far as I'm concerned, because they're not delivering if they don't deliver what they promise in an ad, what are they going to be like as a vendor? You know what I mean? That's
exactly.
Just my thought. And and you know me, I buy everything. Okay. I mean, you look behind me. I've got the headset graveyard. I've got like 9 headsets behind there, and
a blue mic. I see the blue mic back there.
Yeah. Well, and I've got this one too that I'm not using today. I don't know if you can see it.
Oh yeah, the Yeti. I've got my Yeti on the other side of the room too.
Yeah. So I mean, I practice what I preach, and I'm a shopper, as you know. And but I'm also very demanding. I mean, if you say you're going to do something, or if I go into a store and I'm given a 20% coupon, you better give me the 20%. Don't tell me that the one thing that I want to buy doesn't apply. That in print on a font 2, that doesn't apply. I'll be pissed.
Oh, you've been
You
to
know.
Macy's, haven't you?
Yeah, yeah, a few times, a few
Yeah,
times.
yeah.
Bed Bath and Beyond's done it to me every once in a while too.
Mm.
I have to say.
So
So there you go.
if we're going to kind of look at this, because you and I can go on forever here, but if we were going to give somebody um, a kind of a template for getting started right now, the top 3 things that they need to do to take action on, some basic action steps from today. And by the way, one of your first action steps, as far as I'm concerned, is to watch Laura's videos, free videos. But that aside, what would you say would be, step 1, step 2, step 3 to move forward in the getting traffic game?
Well, I'll tell you something. Video 2 goes into how to do your research. And my Steve was like, I can't believe you're giving this information away. But I was just kind of like, well, it's what I do. I'd rather have people be self-sufficient. There's 3 tools that I show in video 2. One is a service and it's free. It's called follow.net, and it's an extension, or you can go to the site itself. There's a free version, there's a paid version. I don't know what does what, but you can do a lot with the free version, I'm sure. And it basically, you put in so let's say you do a Google search and with what you think your top keywords should be, and you look at your top competitors. You can just take that URL, okay, and actually use follow.net and see all the competitive intelligence that you want to see on that. What keywords are they ranking for? What do the banners look like? I mean, it's amazing. I can't tell you how much money I spend every month on competitive intelligence tools and this is aggregating them all together. So it's wonderful. The other thing is Facebook has something called graph search, and that's been around for a while, but nobody's really used it well. If you say, and you type in, if you have graph search, and there's a download. If you're not in the U.S., you have to set yourself up as U.S. But you could say, show me all the pages liked by people who like forex, or show me, groups joined by people who like Tony Robbins, and so it's all those relationships, and you can really get granular and really get to know your market a bit better. And then Facebook just opened up this new thing, and again, it's not available everywhere, but it's available most places. Audience insights, and audience insights, you can put in an interest, or a name of somebody who's famous or something, and you will get a whole bunch of information about that particular target group: how old they are, how many are married, how many are single, how much money they make, do they own homes, are they going to buy a car. I mean, basically it gives you like a composite of your ideal customer, especially if you know who you're going after. It's pretty crazy,
That's
crazy, crazy.
cool. That's really cool.
Yeah. So that would be the first thing I would do, is because I need to make sure that I have that I know my market. And then I would also look at, like, competitors' landing pages. What are they sending them to? So you have ideas so that you craft what you're going to do. I always do, I don't build a website first. I do my research. I don't do anything. In fact, I won't make a decision on my next step until I do the research. I can't tell you how many clients come in and say they have this great idea or this, that, and the other, and everyone, like, lo and behold, I mean, I think there's only 2 that we didn't have to do this with because they actually understood research and had done it themselves. It's like, before I drive a penny worth of traffic, before I put a conversion code on your website, before I do anything, I'm going to do this research. And it takes sometimes, especially the way Steve does it, 4 to 6 weeks. And then we go,
Wow.
okay, yeah, okay, now here's your whole market. Guess what? The colors on your website probably should be blue, because your top competitors all have blue in their, whatever. This is what the landing pages that are working are. This is where people are ranking. This is what you have a shot at or you don't have a shot at. this is the demographics of blah 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 blah. And now, now it stops becoming in the, nebulous or creative, or oh, I'd like to, or airy fairy, and look, I'm spiritual, don't get me wrong, but I'm sorry, I'm not going to positive think myself into having a good website. Okay, I'm not going to go like this and all of a sudden the right, you know what I mean? It's like, you got to actually do it. You actually got to build it. You can surely stop sabotaging yourself by having those positive thoughts. And I'm not saying you shouldn't. I'm just saying that you got to know before you go.
So
And
now,
I hope I didn't alienate anybody on that. I'm
I think
sorry.
you think you did. I think, okay, we'll hold some space and do an ohm later on just to make sure everybody's happy.
You know what I
But
could do is maybe I could, let me see if I can do this.
oh God,
No,
what
I
have we
don't know.
just created here?
I don't know. I don't know if it's gonna let me do this or not. Oh no. I was gonna try to put a head over me that looked.
Oh, oh yeah, yeah, with what
Yeah.
you call it? Yeah, yeah,
Oh wait. Maybe I can do it. Maybe I can still do it. Yes. I think I'm gonna.
yeah.
Yeah. I'm gonna.
Google effects,
Yeah.
Google effects.
Yeah. So that's who said it. Okay. Just so you know. Wasn't me.
Lovely, right?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
the thing. So, what I was going to try to get to is this. Okay, so I think some people. I know when you said Steve will take. Oh, there it is. Wait a minute. I just lost it. Steve will take
Yeah.
4 to 6 weeks to come up with a full campaign or a full research model. I'm sure a few people gasp and then, oh God, I don't have 4 to 6 weeks. I got to get a payment made,
Oh.
kind
Oh
of thing.
no, 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 no. What I teach you to do takes you. Look. There's. All right. I lost 100 pounds. Right. You know
I
that.
know you look. I could, I had wanted to acknowledge you on that. I was looking for a picture of the two of us to put into our promotion, and the picture
Right.
from 3 years ago, which was a really great picture, it's not you.
No.
I can't use it because you look so
But
great.
anyway. But
Sorry.
anyway. I'm going to use my example. So I did not get up on Monday and say, I got to lose 100 pounds. I got till Friday. Didn't happen. It took what it took. But what I did do was lose 5 pounds by Friday. So there was a little bit that so there's a place that's between the big 4 to 6 weeks worth of research and the enough having enough research that you can get started in making money. And then you do more, and then you do more, and then you do more. So, the guys that are taking 4 to 6 weeks to do research have, some pretty big businesses that are making a lot of money already and, are either losing out on something or need help or whatever. So, no, you don't have to take 4 to 6 weeks to do it. I usually can get most of the research I need done for my Facebook campaigns, a couple hours, write some notes,
That's worth it.
start it.
That's
Yeah,
a couple hours to make sure you take the right road rather than the wrong road. Worth it to me.
yeah. And I mean, it's if you're going from, um, let's see, you're gonna go from Florida to California. You got to go west, and you got to get Route 66, right? That's the way to go. If you start going on 95 north and you hit New York, you're in the wrong direction. So you're better off knowing that it's. Let's just call this your traffic GPS. you
I like
know?
it, and that's
Yeah,
actually that's a really good metaphor for it.
yeah.
So that's cool. That's a really good. First thing is the research.
hmm
Second thing.
Oh, then I start testing. I mean, if I have everything built that needs to be there, I just throw a little traffic at it and I watch what happens.
Okay, so throw a little traffic. I know you might have lingo, but for the people that are not as savvy as that, throw a little traffic means that you're going to
Well,
go into. Oh,
yeah, yeah. I'll go into Facebook ads, and now I know my target audience. I'll put together an ad. I'll do a very very low budget, and I will get 50 or 100 people to show up, and I'll watch what they do. They'll either buy or they won't. But if I have done my research right, they usually buy. And then all I have to do is actually make it better. You know what I mean?
cool. and the
Yeah.
research lets you know that. So you're not going in blind.
Yeah.
We've had some not great results in the past because we've gone in blind. We haven't known what people were doing. We went with the sense of what I thought would work. I've got a pretty good head for it, but with all the tests, we've been through so many different tests of, do you think this will work better or this will work better? And we answer what we think will work best. And what percentage of the time, Laura, do we think it's going to be great and it turns out to not be? Or we think split test A, B, and we're always wrong. What percentage of that?
Oh God, I mean, I'm probably wrong half the time. You know what I mean? But I find it out very quickly. When we released Webinar Jam, because that's actually one of my clients, and I thought, God, wouldn't it be smart to promote Webinar Jam to people who like Google Hangouts?
Yeah,
Tanked. Yeah. You
really.
want to know why?
Why?
Well, because they like to be on Hangouts. They don't necessarily market or give a shit about any of the other stuff.
Ah, they're the consumer, not the originator.
Right. So, you know what? You know how much it cost me to figure out that didn't work?
How much?
$50.
Wow.
All right. That's it. So, but the campaigns I did get working, some of them have actually um, are 15x, meaning like for every dollar I've spent, I got $15 back.
That's a gigantic return. Think about
Yeah.
that. That's a
Yeah, I mean,
gigantic
look,
return.
I'm not saying you can do it with everything, but I said to Mike and Andy, I think I'm in the wrong business, man. I think I want I want to own Webinar Jam. You know what I mean? You
Yeah.
know, and software as a service is great anyway, but nonetheless, that really, I mean, it was such a good, compelling offer. And the technology is cool. I mean, I just talked to Hector today, and he's actually he actually asked my advice on some tracking and whatever for the webinars themselves. But um, God, look at the bang for the buck on that. You know what I mean? It's
It
just,
was the
I
best
mean,
deal ever. It was the best deal ever. I mean, and I don't like. I'm pretty stingy when it comes to buying stuff. I
I
bought
know.
it like that. I mean, we didn't adopt it quickly enough because I didn't think I could actually use it here. But the beauty of it is I can originate off the U.S. So this is like I'm using Webinar Jam right now, even though I'm not using Webinar Jam. I was able to originate my webinar. So like, thank you guys for
That's
putting this on
awesome.
together. Yeah, it's great. So
That's
okay,
really
so
nice. I'm actually going to let the guys know that because that's a great success.
yeah, oh, I'm thrilled, and I want to talk to Hector also because whether we screwed something up or whatever, because I wanted to actually use the platform today, and somehow we didn't. So for sure, I want to talk to Hector. Anyway, but moving on. So step one was research. Step two was or is to give it some testing. Throw a couple dollars at it, and you can test for as small. I mean, you don't want to spend more than $50. I mean, we're testing at $20.
That's right.
Um, so it's not like it's not. This does not need to be a business of rich people yet. You'll be rich people after you start winning your tests. And then, so what would be the third thing?
Once you have it working, you just scale it up
Yeah,
and figure out where you're going to hide your money because the tax rates are high.
yeah, exactly, exactly.
Sorry, I meant that as a joke, guys. Okay,
I,
but anyway,
yeah, careful. We are being monitored by
yeah,
whomever.
yeah,
So,
I
so
know, I
she's
know, I know.
kidding. She's
No, we
kidding.
we
Just
we
kidding.
don't make that kind of money. We just don't.
Yeah, no.
Anyway,
It's we're all on food stamps,
it's a
and we
joke. It was a joke. It was a
we talk
joke.
about it. We talk about it. So 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 guys, are there any other questions that you guys have? I think what I'd like to do is get you guys into the video training that Laura has done. I do want to bring you back, Laura, and I do want to talk to you about becoming part of our faculty, which we talked about privately a little bit, because there's
Mhm.
so much that you've got. And I will tell you, I just hired somebody yesterday that will be executing exactly what you say. Um,
Awesome.
yeah, I hired a guy in the Philippines. He's really cool. He's aggressive, and he can't wait to learn some of these new things. He's done some AdWords in
Perfect.
the past. I know, and I said, guess what? You're going to learn a lot more than you ever expected. So this is what we're doing because if you're really busy, you can outsource some of this. But the key is the people that are going to be doing some of the work for you need to know what the heck they're doing. So you can't just say go do this and then throw money at it without really
You
getting it
know,
done.
that's such a smart thing that you said, Ken, because, you know, I used to have, people go, oh, you're a geek. You know how to write web pages and you can program this, that, and the other. But that wasn't always the case. What happened was is back in 2008, I actually got very sick and I ended up in the hospital, and I had to fire all my um, really, really expensive personnel that did a lot of the technical stuff. And it was just because we couldn't afford it. I didn't have health insurance at the time. It was a nightmare because we were in startup mode. So what happened was I needed I needed a website. So I learned how to build a website. I needed an opt-in code. I learned how to do that. Now I don't do all the stuff myself. But if I got a programmer telling me, oh, that's going to take 10 hours, I can go, bull, that's like 2 hours worth of programming,
Exactly.
or that's
Exactly.
sloppy code or whatever. So, uh, there's a lot of, I'm just trying to think, it's not freedom, that's not the right word. Um, I think the word is more like um, safety, there's comfort, there's understanding, and actually understanding what you have other people doing for you. If you don't understand it well enough, what happens is you can be taken advantage of, and you can't really control that which you don't understand well.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm not saying sling ads all day long. I'm saying understand it well enough so that if you have somebody there that's slinging them for you, you know what to do.
Yeah.
That makes sense?
I'll use the word confidence because to me that allows me to feel totally confident. I've done the same thing. I've built web pages. I've done virtually everything in the business. So when someone says they can't do it, I'm like, bullshit. You can figure out a
Hmm.
way to do it. There's the no is just a challenge to me.
Yeah,
It's an invitation to find the answer is what no means to me.
yeah, yeah.
So that's beauty. That's beauteous. And I mean, now with some of the new technology, we've got some really cool new technology that we're using. I don't have time to learn it, but I know the fundamentals of what's required, and so we've
That's
kind
right.
of got the different level. A really really good question from Donnie. It's a question that's actually dear to my heart. She asked, do you find that there's more or less effort needed in Facebook marketing for live events compared to online services, online events, and telesummits? Great
Oh
question.
no, oh no, I think live events are killing it. You can target geographically as well, so it's very, very, very easy. I mean, and if you don't have the chops to, or your own, even let's say, if you don't have your own merchant account or anything like that, Eventbrite is great. I don't know. My friend Roger Bryan had an event with Kevin Harrington from Shark Tank, and they broke the room. I mean,
Wow.
they got so many registrations, way more than he expected, and in a very short period of time. So you got to know who you. Again, it's just knowing who you're targeting and whatnot. But yeah, I mean, I like live events a lot. I mean, look, having automated webinars are great, and there's a lot of different things. And again, like I said, when you're building something out, you've got, it's a funnel. You've got, and when you're going into a funnel, and I'm going to just show you this little picture, you have all these things that move everybody towards where you want them to go, right? So it's a funnel. It's a lousy
No,
picture.
I can't see it because it's not focusing. I just like the sort of triangular. I can't see
Oh,
it.
all right. Well,
Try and get
anyway,
it closer. All right, whatever.
I tried it closer. I don't know if I can get it closer than this. It's just showing that
There you go.
everything
There
kind
you
of,
go. There you
yeah.
go. Okay.
So everything rolls down here. So when your funnel starts off big, there could be many different things that roll into that funnel, right? So you could have a webinar here, and a live event here, and an opt-in here, and a $7 product here, a consultation here. It really depends. So you're not locked into just one front end, but at the end of the day, you probably have like one high end product that goes all the way down. That's where your largest profit is.
Yeah, I want to thank you, Dominique, for asking that question. She has a follow-up question, which is, what measurement tools do you use, if any, besides Facebook analytics, to make sure you present the right numbers to your clients?
Oh, okay. Well, interesting. Well, Facebook actually has some great analytics. The reports used to suck. They don't anymore. I also use there's two other Facebook ad tools that you can buy that are third party. I like them and I hate them. I like them because they automate some of the processes, and I hate them because they can't keep their development up with all the changes in Facebook. So there's all so if you want to do the cool ninja stuff, you got to do it in Facebook itself. But there's Quia that allows you to do like let's say for example, let's split out in all our ads. Let's split out men and women and in 10-year increments of age to see which ones convert higher.
Oh, nice.
Okay, or let's
Nice.
say, yeah, or let's say we have 5 images. Let's see which one of those five. Let's 5 images, 5 headlines, five body, and it'll rotate them so that 5, 5, 5, and 5 images, that'll make you 125 ads. You know what I mean? And it's like
Wow.
that. Yeah, so you don't have to do
Wow.
it yourself, right? But at the same time, there's certain things you can't do within there. So social.com is really expensive. It's $500 a month versus 3% of the ad spend, whichever is higher. I use
Wow.
that one. And I have Quia. They all have reports. You can also use, if you're using any kind of goal tracking in Google Analytics, you can make your UTM links and hook up your ads to it. Oh, and by the way, Quia will insert Google Analytics UTM URLs in those ads, which so it'll take some time out of it. But there's just other things about it that I think suck. So I kind of go between all of those depending on what campaigns I'm working on. So sometimes I'll make my ads in Power Editor. Sometimes I'll make them in Quia. Sometimes I'll make them in social, and it really just depends on how many ads, how many different targets do I have? Because when you start segregating out, I mean, see, when you start, look, if you got a $10 budget, you're just going to blow your budget, as quickly as possible, see what happens. When you start getting a larger budget, one of the things you want to start doing is, splitting out countries, splitting out, like I said, men and women, splitting out age groups, so you can start getting a sweet spot of what's working. It's funny, I've got a campaign running right now for Traffic Genesis, and one of them is getting like 40-cent opt-ins, right? And another one is getting like 80-cent opt-ins. Another one's getting like $2.50. And you know what? It's fine because the aggregate of them is like $1.47 or something. But when I start breaking it down a little bit further, I start seeing what are the common traits of the ones that are getting the cheaper opt-ins. At the same time, my goal is to get as many as possible, so I don't mind spending a little more. So I'll jack up and get as many as the cheap leads as I possibly can, but I'll also go a little bit further out. And when you go a little bit further out, it's not quite as it's not as quite as zoned in, so the price might be a little bit higher. But again, if I'm making $100 for every lead, or let's say it's $100 sale for every person that whatever, then I'll spend even sometimes all of it to get that. So it just depends on Ryan Dice is famous for this, and Frank Kern does this too. And it's basically a self-liquidating offer, meaning that
Exactly.
yeah, that at the end of the day, whatever you're spending, so let's say it's a $7 ebook or whatever, that either you break even or maybe just lose a couple of bucks and just keep reinvesting that into your marketing, because the second thing and the thing after that is what's going to make you the big dollars. And let's face it, I know this as well as anyone else, is that the more people you touch, either via your email list or your retargeting lists and whatnot, the better you're going to do. I mean, it's just the simplicity of it.
Yeah. The question that Dominique asked just kind of hit me like gigantic awareness, because I've avoided live events for a long time because of the challenge of getting someone to show up at a live event. I've had people say, "Oh, come promote my live event in Atlanta, whatever." I'm like, "Excuse me, but my list is so demographically varied from Sydney to Switzerland. I'm not going to mail my list for your event in Atlanta. It's just not going to happen."
Right.
But the
You can buy
targeting,
ads.
I know that, and so it just occurred to me, I'm going to be in LA in August. for a 3-day event, and I'm going to do my own 1 day just after that.
Yeah,
Well,
well,
guess what we're going to
yeah.
do?
Well, you know what else you could do is you could upload your email list
Yeah,
and say, I want you to promote to these people, which would mean people are in your email list, but then you can also say, only people on my email list are from Atlanta.
right.
And then, now the other thing you can do with retargeting, which is pretty badass, pardon my. So let's say if we were retargeting for you,
Hmm.
and we had all these opt-ins rather than, I mean, is everybody opening up the reminders or the GoToWebinar thing? I don't know, but I bet you they're on Facebook, and if we had a big honking ad that says your webinar starts in an hour,
Yeah, and it's
my
time, and it's timed. That's brilliant. That's genius. That's absolutely genius. Yeah,
sure can.
yeah,
Yeah,
that's
you could
really
just say
cool.
it's a fixed time. It's a fixed time ad. It starts this time. It'll end at this time, and you just put it in, and and it'll be approved. And at that time, when you say for it to start, it'll start, and when you tell it to stop, it'll stop.
That is so brilliant. I that is that is genius. We've never done that. Never even thought about timed ads or time. That's genius. And
Yeah,
for all of our online events, a new speaker's coming in at a certain hour. Holy crap,
yeah.
that's amazing.
Yeah, I mean, but that's what we do, Ken. You know what I mean? It's kind of like we find all these geeky things. It was funny last night. I did a hangout with Ed Dale, and he's so geeky, man, and he's like into a lot of having your own online magazines through like the iTunes store, and there's one targeting option where you can get app engagement, right? So meaning that like if you have a like a mobile app and you now you're able to like go down and actually like link to a page in one of your mags that people, and somebody emailed me today, it's like, how do you do it? And I was like, I have never done it, to be honest with you. But I just emailed uh, Ed and I said, look, maybe I should, maybe you give me access and we'll play around with it. But it's like, geeky people are in geeky in whatever way they are, and they just figure this stuff out. And it's like, what if, insert really cool thing. And I guess it's just kind of the world I live in right now.
Yeah, yeah. It's amazing. And by the way, we got Ed's thing got 2 years ago when he first released it. So
Mm.
it's an interesting thought. We haven't embraced that technology yet. Um, this is going to be interesting. I've got a couple of things I want to talk to you about once we're off. One of which is when I come down to Florida in September, we should do a day. We should do a live event and promote the crap out of it.
Oh, that would be fun.
Wouldn't that be cool? So let's you and I talk about that and make that work, because that would be totally cool. We have time to promote it. So
Yep.
if you guys are in the Florida area, it'll be sometime in early September, and we'll get that sorted. So that's gonna be fun. So now we got a road trip. Now we got the Totalpreneur World Tour, which, oh my God, Laura, we the foundation of what we're doing, okay, in terms of the Institute for Entrepreneurship, is to have entrepreneurs become totalpreneurs, like I mentioned earlier. And in so doing, there's the 5 components that I call the 5 quests. First, and not in any particular order, but the first quest I'll talk about is the quest for finding the ideal customer and client, which is why we're having this conversation today, because targeting gets us the ideal person. Second one is client development and evangelism, to get them to come back, buy more, and tell their friends why they love us. The third is operations, processes, and systems, which has a lot to do with all the research that we're talking about doing, and it also ties into the beginning of finding your ideal customer. The fourth one is developing, winning the inner game. We call it, I'm forgetting, going completely blank right now, but basically it's winning the inner game. And then last but not least is the lifestyle of awesomeness. Well, imagine now for all of us, recognizing what we've just learned here today over the past 75 minutes or so. If you do your own world tour, you target properly, graphically, you target the right way using what Laura has taught you so far today, and just really touch the tip of the iceberg. And now if you want to do live events or any kind of events as you travel around the planet, you can. Now,
Yep.
your market may not be quite as big in Bali, although what's interesting enough, there's a lot of internet marketers in Bali right now, by the way. I mean, there's a decent market of them right there. So you could, and I've got a friend of mine who did a retreat for 10 people, made a lot of money in Bali.
It's funny. The guy that has the grills is in Bali.
Really
Yeah.
interesting. And who was I talking to? It was just in. well, actually in Koh Samui here in Thailand, my friend Davin Michaels just finished doing an event in Samui. A lot of Australians came there, and there were like 80 people that showed up here in Thailand for an event. So the ability for us to craft our lives and have our business meet our lives just became a whole lot easier. And what you did for me right now, my dear, is giving me a whole new way of looking at what I'm doing. I hadn't thought about doing live events because I didn't consider that targeting piece. So, you know, for me, this has been a gigantic aha, because once we nail it down and make it work right, we can do not just the virtual events, which I excel at, and we do it. We've got a $15,000 training on how to do virtual events, complete with all their funnels built out. I mean, it's just almost done for you, and people love this course that we're doing. Well, now you can do that in conjunction with your live event and do it both ways. This is remarkable. So for me, you just opened up, and Dominique, I want to thank you for asking that question, because that just opened up a lot of things.
Awesome.
for all of us, right? So we've gone a ways. So for you guys that have been asking, where do I get access to Laura's training? Go to totalpreneur.com/traffic-genesis, and you'll have access to all of that free training with more of the details of what Laura's been talking about. Watch the videos. I've been through video 1, part of video 2, and video 3 was just released today, was it? Or
today?
Okay,
yep,
today.
It just went up today. Yeah, and that was that was crazy.
I know. So you got that done. So that's great.
Yeah, it's all done.
Excuse me. So go watch those videos. If you want the course that they're releasing, it releases sometime next week. So and I know I'm getting it for sure. Anything that Laura does, I want part of, because as you can tell, she knows her stuff. So I want to, Laura, sweetie, I want to thank you. This has been a trip. You're always fun to hang out with, and I knew I would learn stuff. And I know our guys, have learned stuff. So this is really, really cool. So I want to acknowledge you for spending your night with me, especially in the middle of a launch. That says a lot.
Oh, well, I mean, like I said, and I think I mentioned it before, is I love what I do. So, and I mean, you and I, come on, you're like my brother, man. So there you go.
Yeah, we have this mutual admiration society going on, and we'll talk more about what we're going to do next. But I am serious about September. So if you're around in September, I'll give you some of the dates.
I know. Give me the dates, because I know that Mike and Andy and I have something going on in the fall, and you know what? I have no idea what dates are. I'm thinking maybe October, but who knows?
Whatever. Well, we've got our virtual event coming up in September. I think it's September 11th, 12th, if memory serves me. So I'm going to stay in the States until then, because frankly, it's easier to do an online event live in the U.S. on U.S. time than for me to spend all night awake here at home, which it just devastates my body. So let's figure that out, because I'm coming in. I'm in August in L.A., and then I'll be in Boston. I'll be in New York, and my God, now we got the whole U.S. tour coming. So
That's great.
We have a little talk to do. So
I'm hoping to get to New York for a couple of weeks myself after the launch is over, because I miss New York desperately.
Me too. So it's time to go back, and I made that commitment in my head travel-wise. So, all right, you guys, thank you so much for joining us, Laura. I'll talk to you in a bit. This has been remarkable. So thank you. A lot of great takeaways for me, and you guys can feel free and post them in the chat. Unfortunately, we're not live. We're like a 1 or 2 minute delay, so we can't really see all that's going on. So, but feel free to post.
Yeah, that's a Google Hangouts thing. There's always it's not Webinar Jam, but I love the technology of Hangouts. I really do. I think it's brilliant. I love the fact that you don't have to spend as much money on GoTo. I mean, and that there's no limit on this. So yeah, there's a little bit of a delay, but it is what it is.
Well, now that I got Webinar Jam to work for me, so that I can actually originate my Hangouts, and whatever we didn't understand to work, we'll figure that piece of it out. But the coolness for me is now I can do them, and we're high def, and it's great. I mean, there are a couple other things I got to figure out, like right now it's going to my to my personal Gmail account, and I want it to go to my Totalpreneur channel. I don't know how to get that to happen. We'll figure that piece of it out. But
Oh yeah.
I mean, but holy crap, this now is amazing. So when you talk to Hector, and I got to get with him on the phone to figure out like what we did wrong. Um, that's such great news for them because even though there's only 3 countries in the world that can't originate Hangouts, it's another marketing piece because having it come off of their servers really is a big advantage
Yeah, no, that's awesome.
in a huge way. So
Yep.
I'm loving that, and I mean it just gave me a huge amount of freedom now because as much as I love webinar and used it for years, having a hangout like this it's harder in some ways because you have to be on camera and I've got the lighting organized here, and I am still wearing a shirt, which I usually when you and I talk, I never wear a shirt. So I've been evaluating, do I want to wear shirts or not, because my trademark these days seems for pool videos where I don't wear shirts. But there is the dynamic of being seen on screen, so you've got to have that. You can look like the garbage in a webinar, right? Because no one's going to see you.
Yeah, but here's the thing.
But this is better. This
is what you do, Ken, okay?
Yeah.
First of all, you absolutely have the ability in Google, in Hangouts, I don't know if you realize this, but to do screen shares just as you would do if you but this is the other thing you can do if you really are not happy. Let me just see if I can find this. If you're really unhappy with how you look, you just, you put this on.
Oh, there you go. Right.
And yeah, I mean, and then you don't have to worry about it. There used to be one, and I don't know what happened to it. It was just a large, like, rock head, where your head would just look like a rock. I can't find it right now, but nonetheless.
These are fun. Those are fun. And the other thing I do like about the Hangout thing too is that with GoToWebinar you can't show videos. It doesn't work. But with Hangouts, if you load your video and it's a YouTube video, it'll just play beautifully. So that's something I really like. So now that I can embrace it easily without having to go through the VPN and slow it down, it was a colossal pain in the ass. This is so much better. So anyway, awesome. Thanks for hanging with us tonight. You are the best. This is technically becoming the first show of the Totalpreneur Show. So
awesome.
I'm glad to be deflowering with you.
Take care, guys. Thanks.
Bye. Thanks, everybody. Take care.